You're watching Coronavirus in Context. I'm Dr. John Whyte, Chief Medical Officer at WebMD. COVID-19 has impacted every aspect of our life. Have you been to a concert lately? The theater? I bet not. To discuss the impact on the entertainment industry, I'm joined by two guests. Rob Ahrens, who's a theater producer, and Elizabeth Stanley, an actress. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me, John.
Let's start off with what exactly has been the impact on the theater industry, Rob?
It's been a complete shutdown, both on Broadway, on tour, local productions, high school productions, everything shut down on March 12th.
How has that, impacted everyone's lives financially, artistically? How are you dealing with it, Elizabeth?
Well, one day at a time. So right before the shutdown, I was playing the leading role, the matriarch of Mary Jane in the Broadway musical Jagged Little Pill, which is based off of the iconic Alanis Morissette album. So it felt like the most extreme moment I could have ever imagined, because it's really a highlight of my career thus far. And in the spring, all of the Broadway shows are opening and gearing up for the summertime and tourism and the award season. And so it felt like the pedal was like all the way down, and then the emergency brake got pulled. So it was definitely a, a shock to the system in a lot of different ways.
Rob, you were involved in two productions when all of this happened. What were you feeling when all of a sudden it just comes to a screeching halt?
It was really tough. I had Little Shop of Horrors running off Broadway in New York. And then I was developing a show called Fly at San Diego. And going from two shows to nothing was really tough emotionally. It turns out I was sick at the time. I did have a mild case of COVID. And I went from having a really full life to being sick in a one-bedroom apartment. So it was tough.
And tell us how you're doing now. It seems like you've recovered a bit.
Yeah. I was really fortunate to have a mild case. And so, I went from being in shock and being sick to doing a lot of work just to make sure that Little Shop could reopen again. We have to deal with insurance. We have employees. We're trying to keep some sort of presence in media in order that we can reopen once this all stops. And then that was sort of the second stage of COVID for me. And now the third stage is George Floyd's murder and the protests and self-examination of how we can be better going forward with regard to race personally, in theater, and then hopefully in our country as well.
Elizabeth, you had mentioned, how can you translate some of these skills to online performances, online entertainment? What's going on online that viewers might be interested in?
It seems like everything, right? Zoom is the place to be. So some of the teaching I'm doing is through arts organizations that already existed prior to this moment that normally would be having, an in-person live summer camp experience. And so now the students get links to the classes, and it's kind of great. They've set up different forums for them to kind of gather socially outside of class. So they're trying to replicate the live experience. Theater is very different via computer or through a camera, but as an actor, we're all used to doing things with a camera as well. So it's a great time to be practicing what that skill is. And as I'm sure you've noticed, I feel like every creative arts institution is offering so much free content. So, you can take a class through the Whitney or through the MoMA about different types of art making. And in addition to what Rob was speaking about with the race relations in our country, there's so much information to take in. And the next couple nights, I'm going to be taking a class through my church that the minister at my church is giving about, activism and anti-racism. And similarly, within the Broadway community, they had a sort of 3-day online forum held by the Broadway Advocacy Coalition that was all about, how can we move forward as a community. And take action in this time. So it's a strange time, but it's also kind of exciting to be forced to change and grow so much.
Now, what are you hearing about reopening? What would the theater experience look like? Rob, what have you been hearing?
Yeah, I've been hearing optimistically January. I've also been hearing March or April. And the Broadway League is doing a lot of work to try to figure out how to open as safely as possible. But ultimately, the industry has a pretty limited amount of control over when it opens. It's going to be largely driven by science and by
Distancing is very hard to do in a theater setting. Is the theater experience changed permanently? What do you think, Elizabeth?
Oh gosh, what a question. I mean, I think yes. I mean, who knows? This is obviously complete speculation, but I think all of us are going to be changed. I don't think that we will come out of this time being the same exact person as we were before this. And so along those lines, I do think that there will be probably new guidelines for what it means to go into any space where there are a lot of people, and theater is one of those spaces. But I also think with that will come this deep appreciation for how sacred it is to be able to gather together and why we love it. And you know, theater is like been around since the dawn of time. It's like survived a lot. And so I don't think it's going anywhere. And I think it's so interesting, like what is it about humanity that craves that wants to be together, to celebrate, to see, to witness, to feel. So I think we're going to appreciate that more deeply than ever.
What do you think the future holds, Rob?
I think, like Elizabeth was saying, humans crave other humans. People need people. And I think the theater experience, what people love about it is a shared collective emotional experience. And, to echo Elizabeth, I think we're all going to be changed people. And I think that, things will change artistically. In terms of from a business point of view, I don't think it's going to be possible to distance audiences in theater. Not the way the economic model is currently set up. Most of these shows break even at about half capacity, give or take 10 or 20%. So, you can't have every 5 chairs empty. There's no way of doing that. So we're really going to be dependent on either transmissions lowering, effective treatments, a vaccine, herd immunity. But we are, at the moment, we're not trying to figure out how to have every 5th seat filled and how to have every other row filled, which I think is what they're doing with movie theaters right now. I think for the summer, when they're opening movie theaters, they're going to have a lot of spacing in movie theaters. But they can run, the movie 5 times in a day, and it doesn't cost very much to run the movie. Whereas each time we run a show, we have, 20, 30 to 100 people working. So we can afford that kind of distancing and pay our people what they deserve to be paid.
Well, as you both have mentioned, it's had a devastating impact on the performing arts. What can viewers do to help?
So many people across various industries are feeling really desperate in this moment. Since we're talking about the performing arts, the Actors Fund is really wonderful place that you can give. Also, there are so many of us, like myself, out there independently trying to, keep up with our own side hustle and, teaching online or producing music online and putting it out there. And so the more you can give directly to the actual artist is also a really wonderful way to give back.
Rob, any thoughts on how viewers can help?
I think the things Elizabeth just said, the Actors Fund, supporting people who are performing or doing classes online. I think supporting political initiatives. Hopefully there will be some sort of assistance given to theater, because we are probably going to be the last or one of the last industries to open. So we are going to, so it's going to be a little tougher for us than for industries that can open in earlier stages.
Well, I want to thank you both for joining today. Thanks for the insights and in terms of how the performing arts have been impacted by COVID, as well as what viewers can do to help out.
All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Coronavirus in Context. I'm Dr. John Whyte.